Have you ever set out to change your behavior? Maybe it's working out, maybe it's posting more social content, maybe it's doing more sales calls. And when you first start, you're super excited. You see the possibility, you imagine the benefits that'll come to you if you actually do this behavior. But then you quickly turn negative as you actually realize how much work it is to get that done. So in today's video, we're going to talk about that. So making behavioral changes is super hard. No matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, changing a behavior requires that you go through a process of learning new skills, addressing the fact that you don't have the skills to do those things, and ultimately pushing through those tough periods to be successful. As I work with clients in implementing digital strategies, which often include having to do social content, writing blog posts, writing newsletters, doing webinars, all these things that require you to create digital content, publish it online consistently, day over day, week over week, month over month. That is a behavioral change. That is something that they have to go through in order to reach success. Because a lot of us, of course, know that if you actually implement a good digital strategy, you will be successful. You will get lots of leads, you'll get lots of reach, and you'll grow your business. But a lot of people can't do it. They bump up against that wall shortly after starting where things get really sticky. So in today's video, I want to walk through what's called the Kelley emotional cycle of change. This is a psychological framework that's used to describe how we implement behaviors in our life and the changes that we go through in the process. So let's now quick look at what this Kelley cycle of change actually is. So as you can see in the graph, what starts as an optimistic, happy viewpoint on making this change quickly dives down deep as the reality sets in of the changes you have to make. And what this graph shows is that at the beginning, we're optimistic. In the middle, it's challenging, but at the end, if we stick through it and we have success, we will reach benefits far beyond even what we initially imagined. So let's break down each one of those areas in the cycle. So at the very beginning of the cycle is uninformed optimism. This is where you see the possibility. Again, thinking the world of digital strategy, you are out there, you are seeing other people creating thought leadership content, getting views, getting reach, getting conversions, and you think, I want that for me. All I need to do is get started and I will get that. This is uninformed optimism because you are obviously optimistic about the benefits. You've seen them in other people, you've heard people talk about them, but you're uninformed about the actual work that it takes and the skills that you'll need to develop along the way. And not to mention one of the most important ingredients, time. So let's say all this optimism pushes you to get started. The very next level you're gonna hit is informed pessimism. This is when you take a look at things. You've done a couple social posts, you maybe tried to write for a hot second on a blog, and you say, oh crap, this is a way more work than I thought it was gonna be. I don't know how to blog, I don't know what platforms to use, I don't know how to create video, I don't know how to use my phone to edit videos. All of that actual information comes to you as the reality sets in as you start to make the actual behavioral changes. Or let's say you're talking about losing weight, right? Maybe this is on day 3 of tracking your calories. You think, this kind of sucks. I'm hungry all the time. I'm kind of tired. I can't eat my favorite treat that I like all the time. This is where you start to actually get pessimistic about your ability to make that change. Although a lot of people don't quit here. They'll keep going a little further because again, there's still part of them that knows there's benefits that come of making those behavioral changes. So the next thing they hit, which is kind of sad, is the Trough of Despair. So a lot of people will still keep going in this informed pessimism stage. They know there's benefits that they can get by continuing on and pushing through, learning the skills. They think it's possible to do it. But eventually, as they keep pushing and keep trying to push up against those behavioral changes, they're going to hit what's called the Valley of Despair. This is where you are completely overwhelmed with what you're facing. Again, before you thought, maybe I can learn these skills, but here you're on hour 3 of trying to edit a video. Here you are staring at a blank page document where you want to write a blog post, but the words just aren't coming to you. This is where anger, sadness, fear sets in, and you are at your lowest point in your ability to believe that you can actually make this behavioral change. This is where most people quit. And this is why most people can't actually become thought leaders or can't actually successfully implement a digital strategy because they hit this valley of despair. They feel worthless. They don't think they can do it at all. They're angry. They're frustrated themselves. They hate those influencers. They hate those people that keep seeing on their social media feeds. Don't let this be you, because this is only one stage in the cycle of behavioral changes laid out in this framework. If you stick with it, if you're able to push through those emotions, realize and be self-aware those are just emotions, and that yes, you are a person just like every other person you see doing these things, and you can learn those skills and you can stick through it, you will hit what's called informed optimism. This is where you start to have things click. This is where you start having some success with your strategy. And again, if we're talking about digital strategy, talking about social and search and implementing some sort of digital content strategy, I typically see this around months 3 to 6 of someone consistently sticking out with it. This is where they're learning the skills, they're implementing those skills, they're iterating on them, and they're actually starting to see results. They're starting to get some reach. They're starting to have prospects reach out to them. And this is where they start feeling good or optimistic again. At this stage, you're almost starting to get those warm and fuzzy feelings that you had when you initially, went off on your journey on that uninformed optimism side of things, because you think, hey, maybe I can actually do this. Maybe I can actually be successful. And I think most importantly, this is a stage where you actually start to feel traction. This is a really important thing for our monkey minds, because we want to feel like we're making progress. And at this stage, we're starting to make progress. At the final stage of this Kelley-Connor emotional cycle of change is success and actual benefit. This is where you reach that level you thought you were going to reach when you first started out on your behavioral change. At this point, you are truly fulfilled. You feel successful. You know you're successful. Obviously, there's always still a lot more to learn. You're still going to keep doing this behavior because of the benefit that's bringing to you. But this is where you truly reap the benefits of the behavioral change. If we're talking about a workout analogy, maybe this is where you hit your goal weight. Maybe this is where you run that half marathon. This is where you actually have success because you stuck with it through all of those different cycle changes. And again, the most important ingredient here, time. If you consistently do it, this is where you're going to reach that final layer of success. So that is the Kelley-Connor's emotional cycle of change. And oftentimes when people are talking about this, they're talking about things in our personal lives like exercise routines or weight loss. But I think it works so well in digital strategy. If you are an entrepreneur or a salesperson, a marketing person, a business leader, and you want to start implementing digital strategy, we often go through the same process. We see people on our feeds. We see people doing things out there that we want to do. And maybe we know those people. Maybe we think, oh, we can do that too. If so-and-so can do it, we can do it. So we start with this huge optimism of the kind of success that we can have, but we quickly realize how hard it is as we start diving into it. There's so many skills to learn in the world of digital strategy. And as you get started, you realize quickly how difficult that can be. But for those who can stick with it, and for those who understand, most importantly, the cycle and the fact that everyone goes through this, those people you see out there being successful with their digital strategy, they went through this too. They just did it, 3, 6, 9 years ago. And now it's your turn. Now you have to go through the process to actually implement the behavioral changes you need to do in order to be successful. So if anything, I see this as something to be optimistic about, because everyone goes through it. You will go through it and you can be successful too. And now that you understand that this is a framework that your mind is going to go through, that you will have to go through this process, it might make it easier for you. It might help put this thing in perspective, now knowing that behavioral changes take this process to go through and they will be difficult to implement. So let's now talk about just a bunch of tips I can think of going through how to actually successfully navigate this cycle. So number 1 is go in with appropriate expectations. Anytime you are starting a new behavioral change, it's not going to be an overnight switch. You have to set your expectations that it will be hard, it will take time, and that your initial benefits won't be as big as you think they're going to be. Another important thing to do is find an accountability partner or accountability group. One of the reasons we run our Catalyst community is knowing that people going through digital strategies are going to want people along the way that have gone through it before, or maybe people in the same stage as them, or maybe even people who are, a stage behind them that can help kind of be a cheerleader or help put things in perspective along the way. I'd also encourage you to break things down into small tasks. It can be super overwhelming to try and implement a digital strategy if you're trying to do everything at once. And that's probably one of the biggest mistakes I see people make and they're getting started, is they want to do everything. They set these big ambitious goals. They set 5 different things they want to do. but really just focus on one thing at a time. Learn that skill, implement it, build on it. If you make it small tasks, it's going to seem much more manageable and you're going to have a lot more success earlier on. Which brings me to another tip, which is celebrate the small wins. As you do something, as you post a video, as you make an edit, as you have a blog post, as you send an email newsletter, every time give yourself a pat in the back because you just got one step closer to success. And the last note I'll make, and this is probably my most important tip of all, is to focus on progress and not perfection. You will not be perfect. Your content will suck. You will trip up as you are saying things. Anybody who will see the edited or non-edited version of this video, I should say, will know that I messed up along the way. But I focus on progress. You have to keep going, and as you move on, you will get closer and closer to the ultimate benefits that you want to realize in your process. So hopefully this mental model will help you be more successful in implementing the behavioral changes you need to implement to be successful. Let me know in the comments where you are at in the process, if you're struggling with anything, and most of all, best of luck on your journey.